He was over 70. Every morning, as usual, alone in his bedroom. He did this, like a quiet ritual he had kept for years, as a gentle way to start his day. But this time, something seemed to go wrong. His heart began to race. His vision blurred. A few minutes later, he collapsed, and by the time the ambulance arrived, it was too late. What killed him wasn't the act itself, but how and when he did it. With over 30 years of experience helping older men navigate the complex intersection of sexuality, aging, and health, today I want to talk about something almost every man does, but very few truly understand the hidden risks behind it. Because the truth is, masturbation is not the problem. But making 4 serious mistakes, especially in the morning, can quietly damage your circulatory system, your nerves, and even your heart, to a degree where you'll never know what hit you. In this video, I'm going to break down those silent risks, explain why the morning is actually the most vulnerable time, and share with you safer, smarter alternatives, so you can protect both your manhood and your precious life. And yes, I'll also reveal the ideal time of day when this act isn't just safe, but actually beneficial for your health. But before we begin, if you find this kind of honest, life-saving information helpful, hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell. I share practical advice made specifically for men over 65, so you can stay strong, clear-headed, and safe in the years to come. Now, let's get straight to the point. 4 dangerous mistakes men make when masturbating in the morning. The first mistake, and one I'm certain the vast majority of men have made, is rushing into masturbation on an empty stomach and with a dehydrated body. At first glance, this might sound harmless, and most men shrug it off. But this one habit can cost them more than they ever imagined. Every week, I meet patients who start their day with what seems like a peaceful routine. They wake up early, sometimes the moment they open their eyes, while the world is still asleep. But what most don't realize is that at that moment, their body is still in a resting state. The circulatory system hasn't fully awakened. They haven't eaten. They haven't had a sip of water. Their limbs haven't even moved yet. And then, almost like a reflex, they begin to pleasure themselves. Quietly, quickly, and out of habit. To them, it seems harmless. But to an aging heart, constricted blood vessels, and nerves that aren't as resilient as they once were, it's a silent ambush. Stimulating the body so suddenly, especially the genital area, is like starting a car engine without any oil. It might start, but it's only a matter of time before it breaks down. After age 60, the body's ability to regulate blood pressure and maintain blood flow isn't as sharp as it was in youth. Blood circulation slows during sleep. And when you first wake up, you're dehydrated, your blood sugar is low, and your organs are not yet ready to operate at full capacity. And yet, in that exact moment, you stimulate yourself, triggering a surge of sexual arousal, spiking your heart rate, tightening your blood vessels, and drawing blood toward your pelvis, at the very time your brain and heart need it most. So what happens as a result? For some, it's dizziness, trembling, a pounding heart. For others, the consequences are more serious: fainting, a sudden drop in blood pressure, even a mini stroke or a mild heart attack. I remember a man I treated last year. He collapsed right in the bathroom, just minutes after climaxing. At first, he thought he was having a panic attack. But tests revealed it was a mild heart attack, a warning sign from his body. And all of it happened simply because he had no idea how vulnerable his body was in the early morning hours. I'm not telling you this to scare you. I'm telling you to wake you up with a simple truth. Your body needs to be prepared before you put it under any form of stress, even if that stress comes from pleasure. Just one glass of water. Just a few light stretches. Just a small bite of food. That alone can make the difference between safety and danger. It's all about respect for the machine that has carried you this far. Most men never build a real connection with their body, because no one ever taught them to. But it's time we said it out loud. Because ignoring this could cost you more than you ever saw coming. Mistake 2. Using porn as a morning stimulant. Most men won't admit it. But many of them do this. They wake up, grab their phone, and before their feet even touch the floor, they've opened a porn video. Not to read the news, not to look at family photos, but to get a quick hit of stimulation, to spark a bit of arousal for the morning. Over the decades, I've heard countless men say to me, "Doc, it's just part of my morning routine. It makes me feel alive, like I've still got it." But here's what they don't realize. When you start your day this way, especially when it becomes a daily habit, you're not just stimulating your body. You're reprogramming your brain in a dangerous direction. Let me explain. After age 60, the dopamine system, the part of the brain that controls reward and motivation, becomes more sensitive but less resilient. When you expose yourself to high-intensity porn first thing in the morning, your brain gets overloaded by stimulation, things it was never evolved to handle. That initial dopamine spike brings a rush of excitement. But over time, it leaves behind consequences. Real intimacy starts to feel dull. Emotional connection loses its spark. Affection toward your partner no longer stirs you like it used to. Your body still reacts, but your mind has disconnected from emotional connection. I've met many men like this, good men, devoted husbands, sitting in my office, telling me, "I just don't feel turned on by my wife anymore. Not because I don't love her, but because I can't feel anything at all." It's not that they've fallen out of love. It's because their brain has been trained to chase novelty, speed, and constant stimulation. And the worst part? They never see it happening. They think it's just a video, just a few minutes of scrolling. But day after day, year after year, that habit has shifted their arousal threshold, damaged their ability to emotionally connect, and quietly stolen the masculine confidence they once had. So, if you've been starting each day with this habit, I sincerely invite you to take one step back. What you feed your brain first thing in the morning will shape the rest of your day. Choose peace instead of artificial images. Choose presence instead of porn. At first, you might feel empty. You might feel like something's missing. But soon, your mind and your body will thank you. Because you deserve real connection, not just a hit of dopamine from a cold screen. And if this has made you stop and think, you're not alone. But the next mistake is even more shocking. Because it's not about what you're watching. It's about how you position your body in the moment of climax. A mistake that can silently cut off your blood flow every morning, without you even realizing it. Mistake 3. Masturbating in a tense posture or seated in a compressed position that restricts blood flow. This might sound like a small thing, so small that most men never think twice about it. But in all my years as a urologist, I've seen this seemingly harmless habit quietly sabotage men's sexual health, behind closed doors. I remember a 74-year-old patient, a strong-willed man, proud of living alone, still maintaining an active lifestyle. He told me that every morning, he did it, sitting on the edge of his bed, leaning forward, quickly relieving himself, and then starting his day. He didn't think about posture. He didn't notice the tension. It was just a familiar routine, nothing he ever questioned. When I asked him how he felt afterward, he paused. Recently, he admitted, he'd started to feel a bit numb. It was taking longer to get aroused, and the sensations just weren't the same anymore. What he didn't realize was this. He had unknowingly cut off blood flow to his own pelvic region. When you hunch forward, clench your thighs, and put pressure on your pelvic floor, you're compressing blood vessels and nerves, including the pudendal nerve and internal iliac artery, the very structures responsible for erection, sensation, and even bladder control. For younger men, the body still bounces back quickly. But after age 60, your circulatory and nervous systems are far less forgiving. The result? Tingling or numbness in the genitals, reduced sensitivity, delayed or incomplete orgasms, worse, erectile dysfunction, prolonged numbness, or even total loss of sensation. It creeps in slowly, quietly. A little numbness here, a bit of difficulty getting hard there. And most men just shrug it off. Must be old age. But it's not always age. Sometimes, it's simply your posture that's the problem. When you masturbate in a cramped sitting position or stay hunched over too long, you're choking off blood flow and depriving your body of oxygen, two essential elements for maintaining sexual health. You're trying to awaken pleasure, but you're cutting off the very flow that creates that pleasure. I told that elderly man, try changing just one small thing. Lie on your back, gently elevate your hips, keep your pelvic area open and well ventilated. Just a few weeks later, he came back with a brighter look in his eyes. His sensitivity had returned, arousal came more easily, he felt more connected to himself. Sometimes, just one small adjustment can change everything. Most older men have never been told this. No one teaches it, but it's more important than you think. Mistake 4. Feeling ashamed and guilty after masturbation, causing a sudden spike in stress hormones. And after many years working with older men, I've realized, sometimes, the most persistent pain isn't physical at all, it's the quiet shame and guilt that follows those private moments. That pain runs deeper than any other kind of wound. It's not about the position. It's not about what you watched. It's about how you feel afterward. And for so many men, that feeling is shame. Many older men carry this silent burden, invisible, unspoken. Maybe it came from religion, from childhood beliefs that masturbation is wrong, weak, or dirty, or maybe it comes from loneliness. That hollow feeling of waking up alone, reaching for something to feel before facing another long, quiet day. So even if the act brought a few moments of release, right after it, something heavier rolls in, self-judgment, regret, and that small voice in your head whispers, you shouldn't have done that. What most men don't realize is, that emotional spiral doesn't just harm your spirit. It alters the very chemical responses in your body. The wave of guilt, shame, and self-disgust triggers a spike in cortisol, the body's main stress hormone. And when cortisol surges in the morning, the consequences can be mood crashes, suppressed testosterone, elevated blood pressure, weakened immune system, foggy memory, mental cloudiness. I've met men who came to see me, worried about brain fog, chronic fatigue, and erectile dysfunction, and in many cases, the root cause wasn't a medical condition. It was buried emotional stress. It was shame tied to something completely natural. Your body listens to your emotions. When you tell yourself you're weak, dirty, or shameful, your body reacts with tension, with toxicity, with biological chaos. But when you allow yourself to feel joy, when you allow yourself to connect, even just with yourself, your body softens, your hormones begin to balance, and healing starts to take place. You deserve peace, even in your most private moments. And no man should be punished by emotions or hormones, just for trying to feel human again. Most men think they only have two choices, hide or feel ashamed. But there is a better way. A way to honor your body by caring for your mind. You can still enjoy this intimacy without fear. Don't be afraid someone will find out. Don't be afraid someone will laugh. Masturbation is, in truth, a healing act, not only safe but beneficial to your overall health. But like anything, it must be done correctly and at the right time. Because in the wrong moment, or done the wrong way, it can become a fragile line between healing and harm. Right after this, I'll share with you the best time to reconnect with yourself, safely, fully, and meaningfully. And the question is, so when exactly is the best time? I always answer this with honesty, without judgment. The time you choose to pleasure yourself can be the difference between healing and harm. First, I want you to remember this. You don't need to give up desire. You don't need to suppress pleasure. But you do need to choose it more wisely, more consciously, and at the right time. And I'll say this clearly. That time is in the late afternoon to early evening, typically between 4 o'clock and 7 p.m. Why? Because by then, your body is fully awake. You've had water, nourishment, your heart rate has stabilized. Your blood circulation is working more efficiently. Stress hormones are gradually declining. And your natural testosterone is beginning to rise again. More importantly, your nervous system is calmer. Your mind is clearer. Your emotions are less stirred. In this golden window, you're not rushing. You're not escaping. You're simply present and fully feeling. And that presence is what turns masturbation from a mindless act into a truly healing experience. A man in his 60s once came to see me. He said he felt disconnected from his emotions, from his own body. I suggested only one thing: change the timing. And just a few weeks later, he came back with a bright smile, visibly excited. "Doctor," he said, "it feels like I'm human again." That is the power of right timing. Not because your body has stopped working, but because you're finally starting to listen to it. And you'd be surprised just how different the experience can be. Instead of tension or rush, there's presence. Instead of shame, there's peace. Instead of a breakdown, there's restoration. Remember this: you are not alone. You are not broken. And you are certainly not the only man over 60 trying to understand what's happening behind closed doors. I know, maybe you're reading these words with a bit of hesitation, a bit of confusion, maybe even a bit of loneliness. But pause for a moment and ask yourself, why should something you need depend on whether others approve of it or not? Masturbation is not something to be hidden. It's not a sign of weakness or loneliness. It's simply a natural part of being human, and at any age. It deserves to be understood and respected. You've lived through so much. You've endured, sacrificed, and lived for others. Now, allow yourself to live for you, even if it's just for a few quiet minutes. In the private space between body and soul. Don't let small, repeated mistakes quietly steal your confidence, your vitality, or your sense of control. If this message speaks to something in your heart, hit like, so I know you're still listening. Leave a comment if you feel like sharing. I read every single one. And don't forget to share this video with someone who might need a gentle reminder that they are not alone.